Oh, wait. Why don't you switch your buzz with me? Because that's 2 and this is 1. Oh.
That was 2 the buzz.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to
No, that was 1 the buzz.
Yeah.
3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are we all ready to begin?
Mm-hmm.
Toss-up number 1. Transformation between these entities via rotation induces magnetic fields that shift observed D values in EPR spectroscopy. Changing the energy differences between these entities can result in spin crossover. The angular portion of these constructs consists of spherical harmonics of degree 2. Each Tsunami-Sugano diagram corresponds to different levels of occupation of these entities. In an octahedral field, these entities are predicted to split into T, 2G,
D orbitals.
That is correct.
I wrote that last time. Good job.
Bonus number 1. According to this statement, the time spent by a system in some part of phase space is proportional to the volume of that region. For 10 points each, identify this important principle from statistical mechanics, which thus states that all microstates of the system are equally probable over time.
The equipartition theorem?
Can you repeat that?
Equipartition theorem.
Ergodic hypothesis.
Oh God, we had that! Damn it, sorry.
In order for this statement to apply to a system, the system must be ergodic. This statement relates the system's temperature to its average energy, and it can be used to show that solids have a heat capacity of 3n times Boltzmann's constant.
Is it like the dual? No, that's like the equipartition theorem. Equipartition theorem.
10 points. This phase of matter, a common system studied in statistical mechanics, can be described with the kinetic molecular theory, as well as an equation of states that states that PV equals nRT. Yes, I can accept that. 20 points. Toss-up number 2. This composer's Dark Minor Key Symphony number 4 oddly has a F major Allegro molto vivace as its second movement instead of as the third. His 4th symphony and 3rd symphony both heavily employ the tritone C F sharp. His 3rd symphony also has only 3 movements, just like his symphony number 5 in E flat. This composer's symphony number 7 in C major, which is only in 1 movement, is his last. This composer failed to produce any major works in his last 30 years after completing his tone poem, Tapiola. Another of his tone poems uses a solo English horn to depict a bird in the underworld. This composer subtly pushed nationalist protest with the setting of a Christian hymn and his Corellia suite. For 10 points, name this composer of Finlandia.
Sibelius.
Correct for 10 points.
I was like, who is that again? We switched buzzers, right? Yeah. Oh, I should have gotten here early, so I'm caught up.
Bonus number 2. This man was named Lalo Vathika before he experienced religious visions that helped him overcome his alcoholism, leading him to take on the name meaning Open Door. For 10 points each, identify this Shawnee leader whose brother Tecumseh fought a war in which William Henry Harrison defeated him at Tippecanoe. You can give either his name or the religious title commonly used to refer to him.
Tinsquattle.
Yes, also accepted, also yes. Tinsquattle followers gathered to form a village at his place before moving to Prophetstown. This fort also needs a 1795 treaty signed by several Native American tribes following Little Turtle's defeat at Fallen Timbers.
Jackson? Yeah, sure. Jackson?
Fort Greenville. Another Native American who preached abstaining from alcohol was Handsome Lake, whose longhouse-based religion of Gaihuyo is still practiced by the Seneca, one of the 6 nations of the Native American Confederacy. 20 points. Toss-up number 3. The so-called dark god theory of these things says that they are expressions of atavistic instincts. The book Thought and Change outlines the theory of these things developed by Ernest Gellner. The role of the Olympics in creating these is discussed in the book by Eric Hobsbawm, analyzing them since 1780, as well as by a historian who emphasized the role of newspapers in creating their civic variety. The rise of these things is attributed to print capitalism in a book by Benedict Anderson that discusses them as imagined communities. These communities, titled An Anti-Mercantilist Book that illustrates the concept of division of labor with a pen factory. For 10 points, the phrase invisible hand was coined in an Adam Smith book about the wealth of what entities?
Nation.
That is correct.
I was like, yeah, I thought it was a special theory.
Bonus number 3. This author wrote about a man who tells his son Kamal to show him a single statue of a teacher when Kamal tells him that he wants to attend the teacher's college. For 10 points each, name this author of a trilogy of novels titled for the residences of members of the Al-Jawad family: Palace Walk, Palace of Desire, and Sugar Street. Correct. That trilogy is named for this Egyptian city, which is also the setting of Mahfouz's other novels like Medak Ali and The Thief and the Dogs.
Cairo.
Correct for 20 points. Kamal befriends a number of these people, angering his older brother Fahmy, He also sees Fami's crush Mario waving at one of these people named Julian. These people kill Falmy at the end of Palace Walk.
White people. White people. Sure. White people.
Prompt.
British. British people.
Prompt again.
British soldiers. British soldiers.
That's correct.
Oh! Things you get from white people.
Toss-up number 4. A story by this author follows a man who first wishes to throw bricks at the temple and hates deeply the fact that there are no bricks and no temples, and then earlier preferred a house of refuge at Mosquito-like Inlet. And the story by this author, a man shoots at a dog sleeping outside a boarded-up saloon. A story that opens up with this line, none that knew the color of the sky, was inspired by this author's shipwreck aboard the SS Commodore. And another story by this author, Scratchy Wilson lowers his revolvers.
Hawthorne?
Incorrect. In another story by this author, Scratchy Wilson lowers his revolvers in disbelief after finding out the town marshal has gotten married. For 10 points, name this author. The short story is The Open Boat and the Bride Comes to...
Crane.
Correct. Bonus number 4. Hephaestus is ordered to create this woman to punish humanity for Prometheus' theft of fire. For 10 points each, name this woman who is beguiled into opening a jar that unleashes all kinds of suffering into the world. Her daughter Pyrrha survives the Great Flood. Correct for 10 points. To repopulate the earth, Gaia instructs Pyrrha and her husband Deucalion to throw these symbolic objects over their shoulders. The two understand her to be referring to rocks. Anything? The bones of their mother. This culture erected large racks of human skulls at many of their holy sites. In one of their myths, human beings are created by spilling blood onto some bones retrieved from the underworld.
Mayan.
The Aztec. Total 10 points. Toss-up number 5. Colossus bullheads from this city highlights an exhibit in the Chicago Oriental Institute which sponsored the excavations of Ernst Herzfeld and Erich Schmidt here. The city's ruins lie at the base of the Mountain of Mercy. This home of fortification tablets contains a palace with 2 staircases to the north and east, with reliefs depicting subjects like Elamites carrying tribute. Ariobarzanes led a final stand on the road to the city, and the home of 100... Incorrect. In this home, over 100-column throne room, the Gate of All Nations led to the Appendaut House, an extension of the royal road ground southeast from Susa to this city, which was sacked by Alexander the Great. Construction of its terrace and palace began under Darius I, who was buried here. For 10 points, it is capital of the Achaemenid Empire.
Persepolis.
That is correct for 10 points. Bonus number 5. A painting depicting this figure was exhibited at the Royal Academy with his artist's unfinished poem, Fallacies of Hope. For 10 points each, name this person who is shown in the eye of a snowstorm in a painting created in response to his Jacques-Louis David painting, in which this man's name is engraved in a rock in the bottom left.
Napoleon.
Incorrect. The answer is Hannibal.
Yeah.
This 19th century English artist of snowstorm Hannibal crossing the Alps also drew a Carthaginian content in his Claude Monet-inspired Guido burning Carthage.
Django Turner.
Turner is correct for 10 points. Turner's painting Rain, Steam, and Speed, which glorifies the Great Western Company that used these vehicles, shows one of them in motion while a hare is shown running along the track on the left. Train is correct for 20 points.
I like train.
Everyone does. Toss-up number 6. The Kalita Purana details the birth of the goddess of this phenomenon from Daksha Sweat. The Bhagavad Gita Purana is a source for a dance expressing a divine example of this phenomenon, the Rasa Leela dance. This phenomenon, personified by Rati, should coexist with Artha and Dharma according to a text about it by Vatsayana. Revelations of this phenomenon, titled A Mystical Book by Julian of Norwich. In Hinduism, this phenomenon is represented by a parrot-riding god with a bow made of sugarcane, and its incarnation between Radha and Krishna is widely celebrated. In Christianity, a divine form of this phenomenon is called agape, which is contrasted. That is correct.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. I didn't know anything about that.
Bonus number 6. This scholar examined the role of composers and laborers for organic court culture in this Mozart portrait of a genius. For 10 points each, identified this sociologist who traced the development of European habitus and court etiquette in this magnum opus of the civilizing process. The answer is Norbert Elias. Elias's book, The Quest for Excitement, describes the role these activities played in the civilizing process. James Naismith invented one of these activities, added the headmaster of rugby. Sports is correct for 10 points. Elias notes that sportification of culture was contemporary to this phenomenon, which Vladimir Lenin called the highest state of capitalism. Edward Said represented Mansfield Park as an example of its impact on culture. 20 points. Toss-up number 7. Helen of Troy gives this character a hand-woven wedding gown to be given to his future bride at his wedding. This character makes 3 attempts to string a bow and then makes a show of being unable to do so on the 4th attempt. Incorrect. He invites the fleeing murderer, Theo Clementis, to join his crew on a voyage, during which a cliffhanger describes how he is unaware that 20 men have set up a black ship to ambush him. This character is joined by Mentor and Pisistratus, the son of Nestor, on a journey to Sparta, where he receives a silver bowl from Menelaus. This character witnesses his father prove his supremacy by shooting an arrow with 12 axes, and then teams up with his father to slay the 108 suitors playing his mother Penelope. For 10 points, named the son of Odysseus. Correct for 10 points. Bonus number 7. Johann Snellman, who advocated for the use of this language, introduced the market currency in the country where it is mostly spoken. For 10 points each, name this language, which Beck Homans tried to unsuccessfully prevent from becoming a national language in the 1800s. Michael Agricola wrote the ABC Curia to standardize this language.
Something like
English.
The answer is Finnish.
Oh, okay.
Michael Agricola was the first to translate the second half of this text, which has a King James version, into Finnish. Just 49 copies of the version printed by Johannes Gutenberg survive. 10 points. Some of the languages spoken by this minority in Finland were made extinct by Finnish expansion. These people are also native to Norway or Sweden, and many of them herd reindeer for a living.
Sami people? Yes, Sami people?
Sami is correct.
Yes, good job.
Toss-up number 8. Various procedures used in this field are named for the fact that they are initiated with patterns shaped like the letter Z, Y, or V. The stromal vascular fraction is typically derived from waste from a procedure used in this field. Practitioners for this variety of this activity are encouraged to use procedures found lower on a conceptual ladder of complexity, including transpositions, interpolations, and free flap procedures. Although this field does not specialize in a part of the body, the treatment of cleft lip and cleft palate can be...
Linguistics?
Repeat?
Linguistics?
Incorrect. The treatment of cleft lip and cleft palate can be considered a subspecialty of this field, as they are corrected via rhinoplasty. Aesthetic procedures in this field include implanting silicone prosthetics and liposuction. For 10 points, name this field that includes reconstructive surgery, which specializes in alteration of the human body, whose name is colloquially used to refer to cosmetic surgery. Excuse me? Can you, I'm sorry? The answer is plastic surgery. That's not what you said, though. Toss-up number 9. This dynasty freed all slaves called Nogi in reforms enacted after a peasant uprising whose ideology used traditional shamanism and Christianity. Under this non-Indian dynasty, people were divided into 4 main classes: nobility, white-collar middle people, commoners, and despised unclean workers. A ruler of this dynasty set up a hall of worthies, which developed an alphabet writing system that grouped syllables into blocks as an alternative to the pictorial writing of Chinese characters.
Josian?
That is correct.
First one.
One word away from power.
Those are the game over forms.
Bonus number 8. Answer the following about soldiers in European literature for 10 points each. This German poet wrote several letters to a young poet to a military cadet at his alma mater. This author's poetry collections include the sonnets to Orpheus.
Rilke.
10 points. This soldier's misadventures include trekking around Bohemia looking for his barracks and being taken as a POW by his own side. This comic character's name came to be a verb for sabotaging one's superior with sheer stupidity.
Corporal, it's that one guy from, like, Joseph Roth or whoever. Corporal, I don't know.
The answer is fake. Ford Maddox Ford's Parade's End novels are about Christopher Titian, who served as a soldier in this war. It is also the setting of Eric Maria Remarque's The Road Back and All Quiet on the Western Front.
World War I.
20 points.
The Great War.
Toss-up number 10. Many clowning scenes were likely written by Samuel Rowley appear in this play, whose authoritative version was published by W. W. Gregg in 1950. Near this place start, a character refuses to speak the name of God upon being asked who made the world after he refused to tell man astronomy as fables. Good and bad angels count to this play's protagonist who wastes time on efforts like pranking Pope Adrian. At its start, the main character sends his servant Wagner to fetch two fiends who teach him dark magic.
Faust.
I'll accept that. Dr. Faustus.
No, you can't.
I can't? I can't? What do you... I will not accept that then.
Yeah, those are two different plays.
Oh,
What's the name?
No,
It's later the name of the character.
It wasn't the play, so that's not correct. Is there an extra toss up in there? Because you can read that to Justin.
It's moderator error, it's fine.
I'm sorry about that. I'll just pull that out and I'll try to get another question later on. Okay? Toss-up number 11. This philosopher distinguished conscious valuings inherent in desire from more primitive instinct he called effective motor attitudes. This philosopher defined communication as shared experience until it becomes a common possession. This thinker's best-known work groups the study of geography of history, arguing that their significance comes from giving background and context to primary human activities. His book, Individualism, Old and New, denounces the profit-motivated business mind, which he believed would inhibit the proper socializing function of pedagogy. This instrumentalist philosopher founded the University of Chicago Lab School and wrote the experiential, progressive learning advocated in his magnum opus. For 10 points, name this author of Democracy and Education.
Dewey.
10 correct for 10 points. Bonus number 9. This compound is the most common product of the Beckman rearrangement, which produces it when beginning with cyclohexanone. For 10 points each, name the cycloamide that contains a 7-member ring.
In NAG.
The answer is caprolactam. Caprolactam is used to produce a 6-member of this polyamide family, whose most famous member, known as 6,6, was first synthesized by Wallace Carruthers and is commonly used in stockings. 10 points. Another set of amide linkages that hold substances together are these bonds that form for the condensation of amino acids.
For what protein bonds? Oh, peptide.
That's correct for 10 points. Toss-up number 12. A man in this town shouts, "Cease, cows, life is short," when a woman spurs his farm animals to rapidly reproduce. A person living in this town reads a text whose odd lines are encrypted in a Lacedaemonian military code and even lines in the private cipher of Emperor Augustus. This town is blanketed with a storm of yellow flowers after the death of a man who discusses cockfighting with a ghost while tied to a chestnut tree. This town is founded by a man who dreams of a city of mirrors after his murder of Prudencio Aguiar drives him to leave Riohacha. Melquiades leads a group of gypsies who break things like magnets and ice to this town, amazing Jose Arcadio and his son.
Macondo.
That is correct.
This town, yeah. I mean, it's pretty great.
Bonus number 10. Answer the following about the opening themes of Mozart's Symphony number 40. For 10 points each, like the piece as a whole, it is in this key with 2 flats in the signature.
B flat.
The answer is G minor. It is to be played using this quiet, dynamic level abbreviated P and contrasted with the loud forte.
Pianissimo.
I cannot accept that. The answer is piano. Describe the rhythm of this symphony's first 3 notes using a combination of the term short and long. As an example, Beethoven's 5th begins short, short, short.
Short, long. Short, long.
That is correct for 10 points.
Yes, entirely.
Would be a pretty good 10.
That was a 10. Toss-up number 13. A path through this mountain range leads to the tourist-centric Aran Valley, which forms the northernmost comarc of one region. A city in this mountain range hosts a parliament known as the General Council, whose establishment of a 10% income tax has made this country an ideal tax haven. A city in the foothills of this range became a pilgrimage site after 1858 thanks to a 14-year-old girl's visions. The city of Pau is the capital of a department named for this range that also includes Bayonne. The town of Lourdes is found in the foothills. Rivers that flow south from this range are part of the Ebro drainage basin. This range divides Gascony from the other main population of Basque speakers to the south.
Pyrenees?
That is correct for 10 points.
Oh, okay. Cool. I know it's small.
Top bonus number 11. Workers in this industry were greatly affected by the shift away from the open field system that resulted from the Enclosure Act. For 10 points each, identify this most important industry in medieval British society, as well as pretty much every other medieval society. It involved growing things like wheat.
Agriculture.
I'll accept that. Farming. It told me to accept it. Farm productivity was boosted by this system, which decreased the amount of fallow land by instead planting different plants that would rejuvenate the soil.
Yeah, carbon pollution.
Correct for 10 points. Charles Townsend was nicknamed for this crop, which formed the 4-field crop rotation along with wheat, barley, and clover. Originally, jack-o'-lanterns were usually carved from this crop and looked much scarier than today's pumpkin lanterns.
Like corns, squash. No, like beets or something.
Yeah.
Beets.
The answer is turnips, 20 points.
Oh, that was quite close. This is the first.
Toss-up number 14. A function for simplifying these structures in double exponential time first finds all of its prime implicants and neglects don't care terms. The Klein-McCluskey algorithm simplifies these expressions, which can also be simplified through a refinement of a Veitch diagram called the Carnot map. The Cook-Levin theorem showed that the problem asking if these functions could be satisfied was NP-complete. These functions are often written in conjunctive normal form or disjunctive normal form, and often have their possible evaluation displayed using a truth table. These functions...
Like Boolean functions?
That is correct.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it wasn't. I'm sure.
Bonus number 12. Answer the following about game theory for 10 points each. The dictator game in which one player alone determines how much of a prize they wish to take and how much they wish to give to another player is a game of this property in which the game of losses of one player are exactly balanced by those of the other.
Zero sum.
Correct for 10 points. The hawk-duck game is a game in which it is beneficial for both players to yield, but the optimum strategy ultimately depends on the opponent's move. That is a strategy of this type, the name of which was coined by Maynard Smith in his application of game theory to biology. The answer is evolutionary stable strategy. Game theory is often studied using the dilemma named for these people who must choose to either cooperate or defect with each other to reduce their punishment.
Prisoner's dilemma.
Correct for 10 points, total of 20 points. This artist's first public art commission was a sculpture of rays of light radiating onto a woman reclining over waves titled Mermaid. This artist parodied a Picasso painting of Dora Maar in his woman with flowered hat and placed modern chairs on a bright turquoise floor in a rendition of Van Gogh's Bedroom of Arles. This artist's most characteristic paintings include one of a red-headed woman who holds a phone with 2 hands, as well as one of a woman surrounded by water who refuses to call Brad for help.
Roy Lichtenstein.
That is correct for 10 points.
I can't pronounce his name, I swear to God.
I think you pronounced it right.
I hope I did.
Is it E-I or I-E-M?
There's E-I-N.
Okay, whatever.
Bonus number 13. This philosopher was the first to divide propositions using the term analytic and synthetic. For 10 points each, name this philosopher who summarized the conclusions of his critique of pure reason in Prolegomena to any future metaphysics which sought to establish the title disciplines of science.
Kant.
Correct for 10 points. This 2-word term derived from a German legal terminology is a name given to Kant's line of reasoning demonstrating that a priori categories directly apply to the objects we experience.
No.
Nothing?
Synthetic reasoning.
Transcendental deduction. Kant's transcendental deduction is effectively an argument against empiricism and in favor of this philosophical theory, which was summarized by proponent George Berkeley as to be is to be perceived.
Idealism.
Correct for 20 points. Toss-up number 16. This man managed to get his childless marriage of Adelheid of Wilburg annulled by Pope Eugene III because his great-great-grandfather was a brother of her great-great-great-grandmother. This ruler helped revive Justinian's law code, receiving the political assistance of the doctors of Bologna, who started it. He had the lands of his cousin Henry the Lion stripped for refusing to assist him in one battle. This ruler was excommunicated by Pope Alexander III, but reconciled with him after losing the Battle of Legnano to the Lombard League.
Frederick Barbarossa?
That is correct for 10 points. This poet referenced the religious leader Emanuel Swedenborg with the title of his book, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. For 10 points each, named this English poet who asked, did he who made the lamb make thee, of the title animal that had a fearful symmetry as spoken the tiger. That is correct for 10 points. Blake's The Tiger is included in one of his 2 collections that are titled for songs of these 2 concepts.
Innocence and Experience.
Correct for 10 points. Blake wrote poems about a giant of this name who was divided into the 4 zoas. This figure has the same name as an ancient world for the island of Great Britain.
Avalon? Yeah. Avalon?
The answer is Albion, total of 20 points.
Okay, Albion, right.
Toss-up number 17. Zone melting is used to obtain extremely pure and uniform crystals of these substances. These materials can be produced by lowering a thin rod-shaped seed crystal into a melt contained within a crucible, then slowly cooling out the resulting boule. When 2 specific types of these materials are placed adjacent to each other, the result is 2 quasi-neutral regions and 1 space charge region, which is often approximated as being depleted of charge carriers. P-N junctions are made using these materials.
Semiconductors.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Toss bonus number 15. Name these countries that used to play host to substantial populations of non-Ashkenazi Jews. For 10 points each, this country expelled its Jews through the Alhambra decree issued by the Catholic monarchs. Descendants of its Jewish population are known as Sephardim.
Spain.
That is correct. Most Jews in this Arabic-speaking country were airlifted to Israel in Operation Magic Carpet. The story of the Queen of Sheba is based on a kingdom in this modern-day country called Saba, which ruled from Marine.
Ethiopia.
The answer is Yemen. The few remaining Jews in this country are guaranteed seats in Parliament by this country's constitution, which is based on the religious principle of guardianship of the jurist.
Iran?
Iran is correct for 20 points. Toss-up number 18. This author related the story of Guido Cavalcanti leaping over the heads of his foes in a lecture declaring lightness an essential trait for burgeoning writers. A recurring character created by this author loses his love interest Adel when colors other than gray first appear, and describes how life was packed like sardines before the Big Bang of the story all at one point. The protagonist of a novel by this author tracks down a fraudulent translator and eventually marries Ludmilla after frustratingly...
Calvino. Italo Calvino.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's if I'm interested in trash like that.
Bonus number 16. In a work title for these people, 7 ladies dressed in rainbow-themed attire deliver a series of 20 poetic monologues, including one in which the lady in Greece complains, "Somebody almost walked off with all of my stuff." For 10 points each, identify these people who have considered suicide in a 1976 choreo poem by Notazi Shange, the second ever work by a black woman to hit Friday.
For colored women who have considered suicide.
Yeah, sure. We'll accept that. Colored girls. You object? No. In the monologue positive added in 2010, the lady in yellow finds out that she has contracted this disease from her lover, who has been seen at gay bars by other ladies. This disease is linked to the play Angels in America.
HIV.
That is correct for 20 points. This play was the first by a black woman to be staged on Broadway. The 2010 Tony Award-winning Clybourne Park is a spin-off of this play, which is set in Chicago.
That's a musical.
Written by a black woman.
Written by a black woman?
Rent.
The answer is A Raisin in the Sun.
Oh, yeah. Written by a black woman? I don't know who wrote it. Was it a white woman? That was like song. No, it was
Toss-up number 19. This man is the subject of a 2009 biography by Melvin Urofsky. This man's research was assisted by his sister-in-law, National Consumers League activist Josephine Goldmark. This man called the right to be let alone the most comprehensive of rights in his dissent to a case that was reversed by Catholic v. U.S. This dissenter in Olmsted v. U.S. worked with Samuel Warren to write an article on the right to privacy. With Harlan F. Stone and Benjamin Cardozo, he is one of the 3 musketeers who supported the New Deal. This people's lawyer compiled non-legal testimony to support a law limiting working hours to 10 hours for women, and his namesake brief for...
Brandeis.
That is correct.
The Brandeis brief.
Toss-up number 17. This artist frequently made gigantic prints that were several feet tall.
Bonus.
You're right. Bonus number 17.
Sorry.
This artist frequently made gigantic prints that were several feet tall, such as the portraits of cowboys, drifters, and others he collected for the exhibit in the American West. For 10 points each, identify this fashion photographer who took iconic shots of Marilyn Monroe in May 1957 and December 1958. His photo del Vivo with elephants contrasts the fashion model wearing Dior with 2 pachyderms.
I don't think it is. But no.
Nothing?
Athens.
Richard Avedon. Avedon shot a 1969 series of photos of this artist and members of his silver-tinted New York studio. The series included pictures of so-called superstars that were omnipresent in this artist's professional and social life.
Andy Warhol. That makes sense. Andy Warhol.
Correct for 10 points. In 1967, Avedon created the famous psychedelic portraits of members of this music group. 2 years earlier, his photo of one of its members wearing a laurel wreath was captured by the Daily Mail's Hail Ringo. Correct for 10 points. Toss-up number 20. A band leader based in this city called for the audience to engage in a call and response of scat syllables in the standard mini Mucher. In the 1930s, this city style of cohesive, prearranged swing contrasted with the freer riff style based in Kansas City. A standard written in this city at night in Tunisia was covered in an album titled For a Night at the Club in this City by Art Blakey, who worked for Fletcher Henderson's band here. Cab Calloway's band performed at this city's Cotton Club. Dizzy Gillespie...
New Orleans.
Incorrect. Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker developed bebop in this city where the Berkeley Club is located. This city is home to lyricist Billy Strayhorn, who references transit system in the song Take the A Train that he co-wrote with Duke Ellington. For 10 points, name this U.S. city where swing thrives in Harlem. That is correct. Bonus number 18. Patrick Geddes, a theorist of these places' desires, railed against a gridiron plan for them. For 10 points each, identify these places that are studied in urban economics. Jane Jacobs wrote about the death and life of great American ones. The answer is cities. In urban economics, agglomeration benefits that firms obtain from locating near each other are analogized to the similar concept in which a firm obtains per unit cost benefits from having greater output.
No answer.
Economies of scale. Standard urban economic theory models this value as decreasing as one travels radially away from the central business district. In economics in general, this word refers to surplus compensation in excess of what it costs to bring a factor of production into usage.
No answer.
The answer is rent. I'm terribly sorry about that toss-up.
Go.